The story behind Hwaseong Fortress. Have you ever visited Cheonggyecheon in Seoul and seen the large painting on a wall that shows a grand procession? This painting is called Banchado, and it depicts King Jeongjo leading a royal procession to Hwaseong Fortress in Suwon. Created by Kim Hong-do and well-known artists of the time, the original painting was done on 63 pages and vividly depicts 1,779 characters and 779 horses on a magnificent scale. But why was King Jeongjo's procession made into a painting? Why did the king march to Suwon? What made him build and visit Hwaseong Fortress? How was it built? Here, we'll learn about the origin and history of the fortress. The origin of Hwaseong Fortress. The origin of Hwaseong Fortress goes back to the late Joseon period. This was a time of political instability because various factions fought for power. In the middle of this political conflict, Sado Seja, King Jeongjo's father, was killed when Jeongjo was only 11 years old. It came as a huge shock to young Jeongjo. Due to his deep affection for his father, King Jeongjo decided to move his father's tomb from Yeongju to Mount Hwa because it was considered to be an ideal place to build tombs at that time. Residents who had been living around the area had to move out, so the king commanded that a new city be built for them, which was Suwon. Hwaseong Fortress was eventually built to protect Suwon and its residents. King Jeongjo paid frequent visits to the fortress to honor his father, showing how deeply he loved and missed him.
One of these visits was to celebrate the 60th birth year of his parents, and it was this visit which was illustrated in Banchado.
Jeongjo's love for the people. Not only did he love his father, but King Jeongjo also had a big heart for his people. The way Hwaseong Fortress was designed showed that he really cared for those living in the area. The original design of the fortress was a round-shaped wall. However, if the fortress had been built as planned, many residents would have ended up living outside the fortress walls. The king learned about the situation and delivered an order saying, "Even if you have to fold and unfold the fortress walls 3 times, build the fortress large enough to let all the existing residents live inside the walls." He did not want any of the residents to be unprotected. This is why the fortress is shaped like a leaf. There is another story about King Jeongjo's love for his people. At that time, people usually worked on public service projects without getting paid. However, King Jeongjo instructed the government to pay those who worked on this project. Also, when the weather became too hot while the fortress was being constructed, the king stopped the construction and supplied workers with choksodan, a pill to beat the heat. There is even a document that shows his compassion for his people.
As the weather is extremely hot, I cannot taste food very well, and I am uncomfortable in bed thinking about the workers suffering in this weather. Since my sympathy cannot moisten their lungs nor cool their bodies, I am now ordering a special prescription of choksodan and sending the pills to the project site. Give them to the workers and let them take the pills with clean water.
A new fortress built with modern science. The construction of Hwaseong Fortress began in 1794 and was completed in 1796 after 33 months of work. Its primary architect, Jong Yak-yong, employed the latest building techniques of the time. The fortress wall, which extends for nearly 6 kilometers, was very advanced in that bricks were used in its construction. Brick walls have the advantage of withstanding heavy blows and are not easily destroyed, so the fortress was made of both bricks and stones. Moreover, holes between the bricks were just big enough to fire guns and arrows through in case of an attack. Jong Yak-yong also came up with new ways to make construction easier for the workers. For example, he invented a new machine called gojunggi. It was used to lift and pile up heavy stones with the least amount of energy. This tool greatly reduced construction time. Without it, the construction of the fortress would have taken much longer. Hwaseong Fortress represents the peak of 18th century Korean architecture. It is characterized by careful planning and the application of the latest scientific advances. Its construction started from King Jeongjo's decision to move his father's tomb, and it has now become a cultural heritage site that attracts visitors from all over the world. We have to be aware of its historical significance and make efforts to preserve its architecture and cultural history. It is now our responsibility to protect this UNESCO World Heritage Site so that our descendants can treasure and enjoy it. Every year in Suwon, a magnificent cultural event takes place to celebrate King Jeongjo's visit to Hwaseong Fortress as depicted in Banchado. Why don't you visit the fortress and feel King Jeongjo's love for his father and the people that he led?